Is it working? I don't know if it's working. Hopefully it's working. It seems to be working. Oh, cool. All right, great. Fantastic. I was a bit worried, but because I'm using a connection that usually give me problems. It's faster, but it doesn't have good upload speed. But maybe they fixed it. That's great. Hey, Zillion, how's it going? Good morning. So, we did the think tag yesterday. Let's do another one. Let's do diesel punk something. So please give me a suggestion on what to draw. Some archetype. You know, like medic, diesel punk, World War II themed diesel punk IP. And the idea is some archetype. We've done a mechanic, a tank, algae farm, the enemy. What else can we do? Give me some suggestions, please. Some military archetype. Or anything really. It's war. Oh yeah, and a mono wheel, like a cable supplier guy, kind of. Anyway, Radar, welcome back. Nice to see you. A sniper. All right, cool. So we got first suggestion, sniper. That's a pretty cool topic. Hey, Stigias, Stonic. Oh, what up? Any other suggestions? Scout. All right. Hey, Miguel. Slightly to the right. How are you? Grenadier. An ogre. All right. I guess that's not really military, but we can make it work. We could make an archetype as a heavy. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Well, let's do it. Six, bioweapon. 3. 1, 2, 3. Scout by Stygius. Oh, nice. Nice. Scout. Froax, it was a military archetype for the diesel punk IP. Hey, Stepan, how's it going? Then Radar, yeah, medical stuff. Hey, Slumpen, how's it going? Welcome back, sir. Fantastic, fantastic. All right, let's start sketching. Scout in lava tunnels. Scout in lava tunnels. How does that even work? A scout means they are going, observing the battlefield before the war. They go on outlooks. They are light, mobile, ninja skills. A German scout. Optics. Okay. And this is not me drawing, by the way. That's me looking out the window. But let's use this. Hey, Fuxia, how's it going? Right, so let's say he has optics, looks far into the lava tunnels, because you can't really go on a high point in a lava tunnel, right? So scouting should probably be they can observe far ahead, really far, like almost like a sniper, you know, or they are more like a observation tower themselves. And maybe they okay, all right. Okay. So what if frogs? Yeah, loads of them. Miguel, yeah, exactly. So my idea, it's like sitting on a podium. Yep, Miguel. So sitting on a podium where he can rotate, he has a massive device that he sits in, like engulfs his whole head and whole upper body, with optics and also sound sensitive device listening down into the ground, sensing vibrations, and his seat senses vibrations. So when he feels something or hears something, he can adjust the sight. Sloopin' boys. Yeah, exactly. That was kind of what I came up with. Because you can't really scout, like I said, you can't really scout in tunnels. So you gotta scout somewhere else, some way else, some other way. And let's make it portable and have it like a dome pointing down into the rock, like a big fat belly, but downward facing. Eric Ricky, yeah, that's why I gave him some like slight legs. But the thing is, you can't think of a scout the same way as a scout in outside, you know, because their whole idea, right, is that they are how should I want a person to sit in this device. Like that's one of the charms. Like, yeah, we got this device, but a human needs to sit inside of it. But the idea is like you can't be a scout if you're in a tunnel. Your whole world is a tunnel. How can you scout? It's just forward or backwards in a tunnel. I mean, you can run ahead, sure, but I mean, to what degree are you scouting? Then you're just running ahead of them, all the other ones. While a scout, like a traditional scout, right? They have observation points. They take notes. They don't engage in war. They report in how many of XYZ are coming, right? Fast moving, because they can travel. The reason why they're fast moving is because they can travel long distances up on ground. So we gotta we have to reconsider what a scout is and does in tunnels. Froax, Diesel Punk doesn't have drones? Well, you tell me. You seem to know. The general like limitations I've given myself into this IP is not a lot of what could deem high technology, you know, like massive computers and things like that. It has to feel clunky and old, even though like World War II had electricity. Electricity isn't the first thing you connect World War II with. It's like metal chunks, right? Quick, sturdy, dynamic metal. Hey Tassos, well, thank you for that sub. 12 months. Look at that. You got your 1 year baby. Cool, thank you. Where are those anime titties at? Oh, not on this channel, mate. Tassos, thank you. Troll as always. Troll as always. So back to the topic of drones. I mean, nothing says that we can't have drones. It just has to feel like they're not electronic. That they're clunky, old, 1945, 1940s technology, but made into whatever purpose we need them to be in, right? So if we want drones, I mean, there's nothing says that drones, we shouldn't use drones. I mean, that would be a cool idea. What would diesel punk drones be? They would be petrol, clearly petrol driven. They can't be battery driven. Jival, yeah, the idea here is like there's going to be like a downward facing radar dome of sorts. Not radar, obviously, because that's panning. That's panning technology of sonar or ping, right? But it's some sort of measuring the vibrations of the ground. Steam. I don't think steam power is very World War II. That's wrong era, isn't it? Frogs, that's cool. That's good. Locomotives. I mean, that's true, Tassos. That's true. They had locomotives. I mean, I'm not saying that no one ever used steam technology, but introducing steam into diesel punk and start doing designs that are based on steam power will confuse the IP to some degree. I mean, obviously, if you had a train and there was steam coming out of it, no one would bat an eye. But you know, you never know really in terms of what they think when they see it, or kind of the what's it called, continuity of visual language and plausibility of, you know, the world you're creating. If you start doing steam batteries, then you're just going to confuse the source, right? Hey Loop, thanks for the raid party. Welcome all. I hope you had a good stream, Loop. What did you do? What do you do? What do you stream? I assume you're an art streamer because no one else raids an art channel unless you are an art streamer. We are all equally damaged. You did some dwarfs? Cool. Sounds good. Please do share if you have anything to share. Inspire us, Loop. Well, you're right, Tassos. These bigger machines that are out in the sea, etc., and locomotives, they are steam powered, right? They're way more efficient than using petrol. But I'm just saying, if you're gonna do a diesel punk world, and let's actually add, it needs to be like a curve like that, right? So that he can pivot up and down, and the pivot sideways too on the platform. Yep. Yeah, you got to stay within. I mean, you can always find like real world, like, well, actually physics doesn't work that way, and all these things, right? But it is a fabricated world, and I choose what goes in and what breaks reality and so on for the sake of on-screen magic. That's what you gotta do. Sometimes just okay, we're gonna add a color over here, even though it doesn't exist in real life, right? Tazos, you're such a troll, man. Anyways, drones. I like the idea of a drones for this guy, or this station rather. I know for you new people on that came with the raid, the chat asked me to do a scout for an IP I'm developing with the Second World War inner Earth lava tunnels. The Germans and the Americans fight with pressurized mech suits and so on. And we've been developing a lot of different units for that world, for these armies fighting each other. And today this chat, the dice chose scout. So I'm kind of trying to develop on the spot what a scout would be in the world of diesel punk, subterranean lava fights. And I'm kind of just on the fly sketching things out and trying to figure out what the hell these things look like. And what is a scout in this world, for example, or a mechanic, or whatever the chat asked me to do. Stonic, yeah, absolutely, it would be boring if everything was 100% realistic, depending on... That's pretty cool. Good stuff. Caleri, yeah, cheers. Frogs, circular, yeah, absolutely. Circular, I was thinking definitely petrol, you know, so that you can get some cool effects, you know, like if it would have those, let's say, discs or spheres. What if it's like a sphere and a sphere like that, right? And then engine and propeller. How does it work? No, it gotta be propeller. I mean, they're German, right? These are the Germans. So let's look at the other flying unit I had designed for the Germans. And he's actually hovering. He's actually using massive propellers to fly in the tunnels. The Germans. Yeah, so you see, he has a like, small engine, massive things, and he's flying. So if the drones, we could do a copy of that, right? We could do optic Small engine, 2 engines, and then a roll cage. Or actually, let's not do a roll cage. Let's just do a lying down roll cage. Because I feel like if it stands up, it's going to be way too futuristic. Oh man, what a messy sketch. Only I will know what the hell that is. Hey Loop. Well, thank you. Underneath the stream, you have the link to my portfolio and stuff if you want to have a look at what I can do, other than what I can do in so far 15 minutes of panic sketching and coming up with stuff on the fly. For you, all you new people, I'm a 15-year veteran in the game industry. 70 plus games I've worked on. Concept artist, art director, hello. Lecturer, teacher, blah blah blah, all that. I don't even want to. I don't even want to do the sale pitch. There they are. So what if the drones are like on the side? No. Coffee drinker, pixel painter. This goes on. What if the drones are stacked like that at the back of the head, and one flies out after the other? That's a pretty cool idea. Zoom. Sound effects. On the legs. Yeah, but because they're the Germans, right? The Germans. 1 second. Because it's the Germans, they gotta be angular and not round, because Americans are round. You can't add swastikas, unfortunately. Even in games, there's certain. I mean, Wolfenstein. They had I think for Germany, they had to put not a swastika in the game, but they had to put a fake symbol on the German version of Wolfenstein, if I remember correctly. It's like banned. If drones are too, maybe drones are too advanced. I mean, we gotta come up with a simpler solution or a different solution. But the thing is, it would be cool with flying small things. You know, how can you go wrong with flying small things in tunnels? gonna look rad. But you got to come up with what makes it unique for the world. I do agree. But I mean, we are sketching here. We are exploring the idea, and then a drone could be anything. It could be wheels, small motor-driven wheels with camera rather than flying. Slumping Boys, yeah, maybe. Erika Ricky, yeah, they did. It turned out great regardless, though. I mean, it's just a symbol. It doesn't matter. Everyone understands anyways. But it's just interesting, like a interesting note that they had to do that for Germany, for the Germans. I mean, what a collective guilt trip that gotta be. Like, yeah, we come from the the master race. What do you mean? Yeah, we tried to take over the world at some point. We kind of killed a couple of million, took over some shit, but now we're cool guys. Oh, okay, cool. Want some beer? Yeah, all right. Atsuki, wood gas generator. Cool. Yeah, I mean, in this world, right? If we want to deep dive into plausibility and explain why they use diesel and petrol and so on. I mean, there are subterranean what's called aquifers, oil deposits. They could just tap into that. Maybe that's even like contested areas, like these underground lakes of petrol, or maybe that could even explain why they've stumbled onto the crabs, right? The black crabs is because they hunt for petrol, pockets of petrol, and they breach the pockets, and the crabs live in the areas. Tasus. Wow. Deutschland über alles. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that could be just like one bad idea from, the Zieg, whatever they said. Bali Bonator. Is it wrong to stick to the first idea in character design? I mean, there's no yes or no answer to that, because sometimes you nail the design at the first take, right? But if you want to do your job correctly, if you want to be a correct designer, you design more than one thing. And the reason is because usually what happens is that you draw things that you assume would fit versus what fits for the character. And a lot of times when you do design, you gotta fully explore an idea. I mean, for example, look at that episode when I designed the black crabs, right? I did 3 sketches. I got some ideas that are pretty cool from all of them. I could have easily just jumped on one and said, yep, that's the crab. I'm going to go with this. It would have been decent. It would have been okay. But it wouldn't have been the complete idea that it could have been, because I didn't, fully develop the idea. So by fully extending, like your mind and following the paths that you take, or random ideas that you get, or different solutions that you force upon the task to design something, that can become an essential part of the design. I can't talk about what client or what game, but last year I worked on a game, and I did a lot of characters, a lot of story characters, and a lot of creatures and enemies and so on. And it all based around that principle of doing research, then sketching out, making notes of ideas, and then snowballing those ideas and developing them, and then supporting them with sketches that I've drawn. And each idea that I've like pushed forward could have been drawn in many different ways. And in the end, I did just that. And in the end, there was a really one solid good idea being formed based on all the like little bits of pieces that I enjoyed and the art director enjoyed, and we discussed and pushed together forward, right? And to create an interesting character. But if I would have just jumped on the first character, it wouldn't have been bad. It would have been a good character. It would have had personality, it would have good design, but most likely it wouldn't be as of a good design. Like the potential isn't fully explored, and I think that's the purpose of doing many sketches, especially if you have the ability to create variety in shape and concept, as in idea and execution, posing, personality. All these things, they create variety in the outcome. And you can draw the same character 3 times and he will look exactly different each time if you are free. If you move the line a little bit in form, move the line a little bit in color, or move the line a little bit in personality or expression, and then if you combine all of those on each version, you'll get completely different characters based on the same principles of what is that character, right? And then that is just being very narrow, and then explore, like, what if he has 2 heads? What if he has strange body, whatever. You never know what can come out of an idea unless you fully explore it, and not be afraid of like art directing yourself, in a sense of making decisions that dictate the character in design. Hey Slumpen, thanks for that subscription, much appreciated. Ricky, it's just because you can't see it. It's just because you're wrong, sir. But let's point the character out, because you can't see it, I can see it. So here's his legs. Behind here is his arms. Behind each of these kind of almost like rear view mirrors, if you may, but they're more like hand protections. And you see a glimpse of him back there. So he sits fully engulfed in this machine, and he has foot pedals and arm pedals, and he observes it. And there's points of rotation of the machinery on this arc. So he can tilt the machine that axis, and then down here is to rotate the whole upper part. if he can eject, in theory, my idea of the design is that the design is forward loaded. So you open the front where he sits and pedals, and it folds out, and he can climb out, and he has to lift the whole thing and, well, rotate it up, unhook himself, push the driving wheel forward, and then he can climb out. So in theory, he could get out of it. But the idea is he's a scout, and he sees through rock and so on, and he's not a scout in this IP. Is not meant to be a fast-moving, because it's just in tunnels, right? Where you can run forward and backwards. What's the point? But being able to see forward and through rock and scout that way is more of the role of the scout in this IP. I've decided. So I have decided, like that meme from Star Wars. Froax, that's a big topic in itself. You can ask that tomorrow at the beginning, and I'll rant about it. Make sure to remember to talk about it, or ask me tomorrow. I'll talk about the whole episode. Slumpen, yeah, exactly. I mean, his point is not to be in the front line. He sits back, and he can like X-ray or whatever technology they use to look through the tunnels and through the rock and observe forward. Slumpen most definitely would need to be a guarded unit, because he sits still, can slowly move, like a pregnant lady with all that heavy equipment. But all in all, he's not a fast-moving unit, and he needs protection. But he's an observer, a scout. That's what, like, the purpose of a scout is not to be able to do anything other than observe, right, and report. Oh, 50 viewers, that's cool. Yeah, they're definitely. Hey, anonymous cheer. Cheers. Yeah, so that's the whole idea, right? What I came up with today, when you guys wanted me to draw a scout for Diesel Punk. I think this is cool. I'd like to develop this unit a bit more, or this drawing a little bit more. But sadly today I don't have time for it. So tomorrow we could either keep developing this concept, or start a new one. It's okay with me. Let's remove the drones. I think drone wheels. It's a cool idea. But the thing is, then the mono wheel has to be German and not American. Resistance, yeah, it's a cool game. All right, let's find someone to raid so I can get back to designing shit for real games rather than my made up IP. All right, let's raid Tim. He's doing some really cool modeling. Cheers. Stepan, well, thank you. It's all about coming up with that idea, and the rest is just put time into presentation, right? Anyways, have a good one. Good night if you're that part of the world. See you tomorrow morning. Let's do the outro, then take you to the raid. So, bye everyone. Make sure to follow so you don't miss when I come online next time. Same time tomorrow. Bye.